I give the name of Allah the most merciful. Firstly, I would like to thank the Islam, Chairman CGSS, for inviting me here. In gentlemen, you have been hearing a lot about hybrid warfare or baseball warfare for the last 3 hours, more than 3 hours. But today, I'll specifically talk about the cyber warfare. So, to begin with, I think the history of war is as old as human on this earth. So, in every type of war, the humans try to use their best resources available just to damage the enemy. And I think today, internet is the best available resource to them. So, internet. I'll start with some vital facts about internet. We had different shades of internet. In the past, somewhere we started like many years ago, like Apple from USA, it was just a military communication type of internet, then it converted into some commercial internet. But passing through an era of 40 years today, we have this internet. I think speakers before me have talked a lot about the misuse of this internet, where all of us are actually become the slaves of this technology. Today, it's like water, it's like electricity to us. But the most scary part is the future of internet, which is Internet of Things, which is artificial based intelligence system, which are like robotics and the deep machine learning, everything we can talk about. Here, in this case, I think it's not a very far era. It's only 2 to 3 years before right now we are talking today. I think at least 6 machines will be in every home. Every home, I must repeat. It's already happening in a number of countries today, but in Pakistan, I can see at least 6 to 8 IP-based machines in every home. So these machines will be communicating with the entire world, within the country. And now we may call them smart homes, we may call them smart cities, we may give them any fancy names. But while they are giving us opportunities, they are bringing a number of challenges to us. So, it's like a fast transformation. Transformation like going everything fast. You know, the best brain of the world spent 50 years to bring the infrastructure, which is now equally available to the terrorists. They are using it for the same purpose we are using it. So we should not try to underestimate them. Actually, law enforcement always underestimate the criminals in every part of the world. And now it's time to understand what they can do and what they cannot do. So criminals, terrorists operating at international level, on a click of a button, let me tell you, they will communicate with millions of their counterparts. They operate in cyberspace in seconds. You know, no front office barriers. If I have to take information from any government organization in any part of the world, I need to have some code subpoena. I have to go through a number of processes. But in this deep web, dark web, underweb, whatever you call them, they do, having a very long experience in intelligence services and FIA, I have been exposed to a number of institutions where I could see working them, they do not meet any barriers. And they go very fast, let me tell you. They go very fast. Now, we had the West world, but not the best world now. And the best world is world of IoT, Internet of Things, world of artificial intelligence. But now, this buzzword blockchain, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, this is a total new internet coming up. Total new internet coming up. So, very briefly, artificial intelligence. There are a lot of fears about artificial intelligence. So many people think that it's going to replace human beings. No, it's not going to replace human beings. It's going to supplement the efforts of human beings. But this brute power is again coming to the hands of the criminals. Like 3D printers came in the hand of the criminals and they used it. So this power of artificial intelligence, which is for everything, it's for good also. It's not only for the bad purposes, it's for the good also. Artificial intelligence for health, for education, even for agriculture, even for the good at the grassroots, even for giving money to the poor people. This system is being used. But again, there are chances that when we have this infrastructure in place, the criminals can take advantage of it. Internet of Things. You must have seen Shahid Afridi talking to his AC on kar do, off kar do, bill bata do. What is this? A simple web application is talking to some application in cloud, and that is all the devices are being regulated through that application. Today, it's an era when we should have framework for all these things, policy for all these things, strategy for all these things. To my understanding, having a very long spell of time in the government, I can understand that we always देर कर देता हूँ. Everywhere we देर कर देता हूँ मैं. Rightly, we do not have any policy of all these technologies which are already there. You know, to my understanding, at least 300 companies are working on internet in Pakistan, or on IoTs in Pakistan, or artificial intelligence in Pakistan. But again, there is no policy, there is no guideline for them to operate the frameworks. So, very finally, this blockchain. Blockchain started from the cryptocurrencies. We thought that something linked with the Bitcoin. People have apprehension about that. But it was not like that. Immediately after cryptocurrency, it entered into contracts, the secure contracts. Then it came into this real estate. Then it finally came into Industrial Revolution 4.0. And now it's coming to governance. To my understanding, in next 2 to 3 years, this framework is going to take over everywhere. We cannot think about going without blockchain. So there's a time now to teach it in universities, to teach it. You know, in India, people are teaching Python at the grade 5 level. Grade 5 level, why they are teaching it? Because they want the next generation to understand all these things. So there are totally new dimension of languages, softwares coming up, which will support all these platforms. So what are the stakes on internet today? Our personal information, our name, our ID card number, everything. Only 2 days before, FIA issued a warning to everybody that you should not give information to people on internet. So our personal information, then our likes and dislikes. You know, it's something, you know, at a small scale, I understand that. I have to be very quick. I could hardly show my 5 personal slides, so I will be very quick. So, 5, this like this. Our financial information. So now you have to understand what I wanted to say. Then our business information. Then our critical infrastructures. This is very important for us to understand that we may be in the hands of enemy, and the enemy will try to take control of us. Our exact location where we are right now. Now, why these terrorists and adversaries opted for cyberspace? Proven technologies, billions of dollars went into it, and now it's available to them. Low cost. Anonymity, they can operate anywhere in the world and nobody can know from where they are operating. Detection depends on the target. If the target is soft, I think detection will not be possible. Strong global network around the world. They're recruiting, fundraising, everything, social media, on internet. Now, what are the purposes and the types of the attacks? In the past, we had number of attacks like on banks. I'll have to be very quick. I want to show you some few slides. SexNet, everybody is still knows about SET, how state-sponsored virus attacked Iran. Then ransom, it's very dangerous now, where people are taking control of the hospitals, the government organizations, and even the banks. And you know, even in Pakistan, people have paid this amount to the people who attacked them. Attacks on critical infrastructures. Use of social media for election engineering. I think the recent example of USA is a good example for that. Now, finally, to cyber warfare. Cyber warfare means use of software, hardware, all these things to destroy the enemies. But it's very important, it's taken time over choice. When we want, we do it. Man over choice, how we want it. How we want to change the decision makers' views. By using cyber warfare, it's possible to control adversary information, targets, lead the adversary to take the desired decisions. Somebody can push you to take a particular decision. Strike directly at the opponent's mindset, decision processes, and the situational awareness. Their total understanding of the situation will be totally different. By using, it's possible to control, to lead the decision makers. Inherent uncertainties, it can be cultured to take further. Decision making should be prepared for the environment so they will encounter in cyberspace. It is very important because in cyber war, the senior decision makers have to take a very strategic decision. Unless they are not trained to handle this situation, it will be very. Estonia is a good example. Time is less, otherwise I would take it into the case study that how the state was taken to a particular situation to take a decision. Bite before bullet. Who wins? The weapon or the keyboard? Traditional warfare are now becoming obsolete, so there will be no foot on ground, and you will encounter more damage by using the bites before. Mix is also possible, like what happened in Georgia. Impact of damage may escalate many folds in minutes and seconds, and the cascading effect is very, very high. If one thing is damaged, it damages hundreds of other things. And taking action, uncertainty and inaction leads to disadvantage, and the accumulation of disadvantages take to the defeat side of it. There is a causal chain as old as war itself. If you go from the top to bottom, and if you see the history of cryptography, how it evolved historically, you can see all these chain of actions which is now applicable to the sequence of cyber warfare. There are 4 pillars of cyberspace. We need to understand is, first is data, second is computing technologies we have, and third is like artificial intelligence and all these things, and fourth are the interaction and the technology management. So in cyber warfare, any of these pillars can be damaged, and that damage will affect the entire infrastructure of the country. But the stimulation of the cyber warfare for decision makers should be some different entities and characters. Stimulation of information flows, they should be trained that how normally information flows goes on, and they should have, through the deep machine learning, they should be trained that then when there is some uncertain situation, in case of cyber war, how quickly they can take decisions. Cyberspace-based network-centric operations. Then cyber warfare and how it affects the decision making, they should be trained on that. And tampering of defined software-based command control systems, what and how. This is a very important part of this stimulation. I would request CGS to organize a specific conference on the cyber warfare, then we can go in all these things in detail and we can talk about it. How to gain information, question utility, accuracy, and if it is contradictory. So all these things should be that part of the training. Decision makers need not to be trained the computer technologies because we are not making them the computer wizard. We are just trying to understand what is the normal flow of information and what is the difference between the normal failure of the machines and the faulty information from the enemy. This is very important because at times the people understand this is something, a machine malfunctioning, and we need to understand the difference. How to confuse the cyber attack by the student based? We can again, if we are very trained in these things, we can again confuse the attackers into it. Need for customized simulation solution standards. E-diplomacy. Now there is no traditional diplomacy, it's the e-diplomacy now. It's normally diplomacy is the normal communication channel with the organs of the country. Cyber world has created new demand for the standard diplomatic channels. This cyber dominance demands that we should have the new information channel with the countries. A according to studies, it's very important to understand, Pakistan is ranked very low in diplomacy, while our rival India is ranked very high in cyber diplomacy. This is my, I think, okay, my time is up now. So, this is very important. This is a study I just received it last night when I was trying to prepare this lecture. This is a study by ITU. They have ranked Pakistan at the 67th position. Bangladesh 53, India 23. So our foreign office need to keep a watch on these statistics. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I had a short time, so I couldn't cover the board. Thank you much.